and good morning, and everyone. So today I will be representing the Arakunas by addressing some challenges that face as a people in the preservation of our language. And I will begin by sharing with you some background information on the people of Purima and the language that makes them unique in Ghana's diversified society. By the way, feel free to ask me to sub if you don't hear me well. So, yeah, thank you. Burma and the Opamajri is the only indigenous village that speaks the Arekuna language. Out of a population of 800 residents, only the elderly folks, who make up about 35% of the population, are able to speak the language fluently, while the younger adults and children can understand, but they are not able to speak it as well as the seniors. Since English was introduced by the missionaries and later through the public education system, it is the second language of the Arakunas. Also, because of geographical location for Rima, there is some influence of Spanish, which a few residents can speak fluently. Other Arakuna speakers can be located in several Venezuelan communities in the Gran Sabana area. The among languages closely related to Arakuna, which are the Tauripang and Kamarakoto, have also been passed to the descendants of these tribes in the village, but are among the least spoken languages. Many challenges faced in the survival of our language are, firstly, there is an increase in language change, resulting in the loss of its accuracy and authenticity. Since the Arakuna natives were introduced to English over 60 years ago, this second language had gradually become one that is used in the place of the native tongue by some of the villagers. The language faces a threat, especially as it is only spoken and not written. And if this challenge is not addressed urgently, we stand the chance of losing the language altogether. Another challenge is that there is less interest, effort, and investment made on the part of community members, government, and non-governmental organizations to support language preservation. Community members, they do realize that the language is becoming less spoken by the young generation, but most presume that it is necessary for children to adopt the English language to have a better future, and so they do not place interest in preservation as they should. Also, as a minority group, there has been a difficulty in gaining the attention of government ministries to aid in preservation initiatives headed by a handful of concerned villages, resulting in little investments received over the past years. Moving on to the next slide. Presently, there are two major languages spoken by the people of Porima. Although English may not be fluently spoken, it is crucial for us to be able to relate to non-Arakunas, while at the same time, we would like to be able to reach our language as a major part of our cultural identity. Therefore, along today's society, it is important that both languages coexist indefinitely. So the conditions that will enable the survival of the Arakuna language is enough people must be able to speak it fluently. The younger generation must be better exposed to the language through various means, such as listening to and practicing their language in the home, at school, at church, and through the use of electronic devices. The Arakuna should also be able to exert rights to use their mother language wherever they are. The state's recognition of minority languages like the Arakuna and the support for its survival will also be of great value to people. Moving on, there are some possible solutions that various stakeholders can contribute to. in order to meet the challenges that are identified above. It includes support from community elders and other members to revive the language. For example, in Porima, the majority of parents and old folks communicate to children in English as they think it is needed to improve their performance in school, whereas they should be practicing and speaking Arekuna more often with their children. Increased intervention from the various government ministries, such as the Ministry of Indian Affairs, Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sport, and the Ministry of Education. These ministries can assist through financing projects, such as the Language Revitalization Group, which is currently facing challenges in formally establishing itself. This is because uh, of financial constraints. Financial assistance will be able to help them acquire materials and equipment such as computers, printers, projectors, and stationery needed for them to be able to teach the language to community members on a scheduled basis. It will also compensate facilitators of the project for the work and efforts they make to revitalize the language. The Ministry of Education should also consider language immersion into the curriculum, especially at the early levels of formal education. This is because nearly all students at the nursery, primary, and even secondary school in Korea are able to speak their native language. Teachers should be encouraged to instruct in their mother tongue as much as it's needed. And the ministry should also recognize that it plays a crucial role in the survival of minority languages as much as the major language. Expansion of technology system, which is currently limited to internet service and often not reliable, will improve internet services and resources available. The Arekuna language will be preserved through recorded, printed, and digital sources. These documented materials will be accessed only by Arekuna speakers, but other interested persons from elsewhere to ensure that the language remains viable. A final probable solution is the development of policies that would get the Arekuna language to its rightful place in the nation and to ensure that the language spoken is protected. An example of a regretful experience occurred about 30 years ago or more, where students at the Porima Primary School were on many occasions forbidden to speak their native tongue at school. Violation of such rule resulted in discipline. The reality is that these circumstances did eventually lead to less Arekuna being spoken, and more energy was directed towards adopting the English language. Situations like these should never arise for any given language group to experience. With this fact in mind, I strongly believe that the formulation of policies will help preserve the language of Arekuna. In conclusion, Arekuna shouldn't be one of those languages that will remain a history after its loss, but one that will be a vibrant language contributing to the rich cultural diversity of our country. Its preservation then depends on our appreciation, our willingness, and ability to prevent its loss. And this can be possible with your support. I am thankful that the Guyanese Languages Unit has given the Arekunas the opportunity to voice their issues, and more attention and support will be given as you have that position and authority to help us in our fight to preserve our language. Thank you. If there are any questions or comments, you can raise those as soon as the opportunity is given.